Hi, I'm Dave. This is Cider Baby Pod, and today I'm talking to Trucker Diablo. Hello.
How's things? How Dave?
I'm pretty good. You're looking good. Tom,
Hmm.
you're in Trucker Diablo.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the band. When did
What's
you when did you start?
yeah, Jesus. Seems years ago now. Probably 2008 really sort of started to get things sort of in motion. Myself and Terry, who's the drummer of the band, we had played in the band previously,
Hmm.
and Simon, who's a guitar player, we had known each other for years. So and we'd always talked about getting a band together, down the line. And then one day I lifted up the phone and said, "Dude, it's time," and I've got the name. So that's kind of where it all started. And we always wanted to do it, and we always loved the idea of trucks and names around trucks because we're into muscle cars and
Yeah.
all that good stuff. So we just wanted something that just sounded, you know, sort of that reflected us. We wanted big riffs, sort of, have that sort of, I don't know, masculine man band look about us. So yeah, that's where it all started. And yeah, we kind of because I think because we're in previous bands. Simon obviously he was in another band called Joyrider who were back in the day that did quite well, or in Top the Pops and in the charts and did all sorts of stuff all over the world. As did we and our other band. So we weren't sort of coming to this with sort of you know baby clothes. We were sort of a bit seasoned.
Yeah.
So but we had no real. There was nothing. We had no real aspirations. We just wanted to get together and play because we're all friends, and we thought something good. So literally, I suppose within like about 2 years, it was pretty quick. We got our first album done, and then we released our first single, "Drink Beer Destroy," which was kind of like our ace of spades. It really sort of taken off, and we ended up doing Download and touring around UK and Europe, playing Foo Fighters, and sort of really we're on riding the crest of a wave for a good few years.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it all started. It's good.
Excellent. Excellent. So you're based in Ireland, yeah?
Based in Northern Ireland, yeah.
Yep. I mean, a name like Trucker Diablo, you'd think southern states of America,
Mhm.
maybe. So where did the name come from? You said you had the name there picked out. So
Yeah, it was actually, I was actually thinking about this the other day, and we have talked about it before, but it's something just sort of came to mind, which was a friend of mine who's no longer with us anymore. He had a friend who was in the army, and he was called Trucker. That was his
right.
nickname. His nickname was Trucker. That's all. Do that's a cool name. That'll be a cool name for a band. And then we just were like, oh, what will make it a bit more evil? Let's just put the devil on the end of it. So that's kind of where it came from, and then we had a concept around sort of it being like a trucker handle almost, like sort of having sort of like a concept of a trucker on the road, and that
Yeah.
would that would be us. So that's kind of where it started. But yeah, as you say, you would think sort of Southern America, and we have received loads of messages. Whereabouts in the states are you from? Are you playing anywhere local to Mississippi or whatever? We're like, no, unfortunately not.
I'm on the plane now.
Yeah, but then consequently, our first label was American. They heard a couple of our singles and then they signed us. They were based in California, so all of our CDs and vinyl were coming from the States, and they were trying to sort of look at getting us over, but then it just never happened. So yeah.
Okay. You've put out several albums. I mean, most recent was last year, Tail End of the Hurricane.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about the album.
So yeah, that was our fifth album. We'd actually started it in November 2019,
Mhm.
and we'd recorded one song, and then I think we had a few shows just before that Christmas, and then we were going to get back into the studio again in February, and we had a few other shows in the UK in February. So just when we came back, the pandemic, everything had kicked off.
Yeah.
So that was all sort of put on hold for a bit, but we pretty much had the songs ready to go, and I have a home studio, so I'd been demoing a lot of them and giving them to the guys, so they were well familiar with everything. So that's really how we handle it. We just tried in that first year of the pandemic to get into the studio when we could, and we were rarely there together, but everyone had the demos and they knew them so well that we just went in and sort of put it all together. So I think it was actually one day where we were all in the studio, and that was sort of September maybe 2020, and I was finishing off the vocals.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a collection of like 14 tunes, just written over that time. We just put it together, and it's been received really well. Around the world, I've done a lot of interviews in sort of America and Australia, and it just seems to be doing so well. I was something that's not really, a natural get together in the studio or a natural way of writing. It seemed to be received really well. I suppose a testament to our fans as well. Stuck by us, this past 14 years. So it's been good. So we're in it. We never stop writing. So yeah, it was a good experience. Strange, but we got to do a few shows off the back of it last year, which was good.
Yeah. So out of the collection of songs that made it to the album, what are your personal favorites?
Yeah, personal favorites, I'd probably say like Rock Kids of the 80s. That was sort of the first song that we put down in the studio. And it was a favorite because, there was a lot of sort of things on the TV and songs ways that like I personally like bands in Europe, and there was a lot of sort of retro throwbacks, and it sort of gave me a chance to write lyrics that sort of referenced a lot of songs and movies and sort of my own personal heroes. So it wasn't sort of a typical, story. It was a bit more sort of thought out, a bit more put together. And, it's just an upbeat, feel good tune. I would say that. And Insects is another favorite as well, which again is quite different for us. It'd be a bit more sort of hard punk rock, which is something we really got into before, but we've always sort of loved punk bands. So we got a chance to really put that together. Then it's got sort of like a bit of a big sort of Wild Hearts chorus. So that was cool to put that together, just something different, but still make a trucker.
Okay. I mean, my personal favorite is Title Track, but that's just me, I suppose. I mean, everybody is different.
Yeah.
You also put out a Christmas single.
Yeah, well, we actually wrote that song about 8 years ago, and
Right.
our first video we just recorded it, us just playing it in the studio. But we since then we had a new bass player, so we're just like, oh, we should probably just update this, and it's kind of the song that keeps on giving. You can't sort of not promote it every year, so we just said, oh, we weren't really doing anything, so we just decided, right, let's just do a new video for it. So yeah, no, that was received really well. There was some played in Radio 2 and your Planet Rock and all the sort of the decent radio stations, and they all seem to pick it up every year. That's great. It's just a fun song about Christmas and trying to sort of capture those big songs that everyone remembers, from the 80s.
Yeah. I've got to say here that Moshraw Radio did play it quite a bit, especially on my radio show. Okay, what about live gigs then coming up? I mean, I know you're playing Rock in the Bowl in September.
Yeah, that's going to be our first one actually. Well, so far that we've arranged. So yeah, we're going back again. They had us a few years ago, which is great. The guys are great. They're just and it's a great venue as well. So we're really looking forward to getting back. So every time we come over, we always try and attach a few gigs either side of that show. So we'll do that again.
Yeah.
And then after that, we're playing Gravity Fest, which is in October. So we'll do that again. A few other shows. And then in January 2023, we're playing Hard Rock Hell and New Wave of Classic Rock. So yeah, that's going to be good as well. So yeah, I'd say over the space of 6 months, we're probably going to have about 10 shows, but if not more, we are talking to some other venues about doing some other things. And then we're speaking to our record label about trying to get back to France, and we were offered a tour in Spain and then maybe a few shows in Germany. So that would be good just to sort of try and do a plan ahead and just get it out there.
Yeah.
And plus we have the Irish side on our side, which means we could just go via Ireland straight into Europe and there'd probably be no real issues.
Yeah.
Whereas unfortunately bands from UK have to go through all sorts of crap to try and get through.
Oh yeah, I'm not even going to go there. So with this in mind, are you writing another album at the moment, or are you putting anything else together just to go with these new dates?
Yeah, we've actually been releasing just some myself and Simon have been here in the home studio just putting together loads of demos, and there's loads of songs. It's probably got some maybe 10 15 songs knocking about. Plus there's a lot of sort of demos that didn't make the last album, so we're sort of maybe thinking of putting those together just to release digitally, just because they're just, we'd rather sort of get them out for people to listen to rather than just sitting here. That mightn't necessarily make the next album, but they'll do something. So we're sort of actively working on that and putting together ideas for videos and we're actually sort of in the process of trying to build our own studio as well. So we're sort of working out, sort of filming, building that in the process of sort of doing all that, and just create content, I suppose, and keep sort of people interested online, bit behind the scenes of what we're doing. So that we're really looking forward to that, and just sort of working on it ourselves. We've never really had that opportunity to do that.
Okay. So if we step back a bit then into your early years, what were your biggest influences? What has made you the band you are today?
Well, I suppose we all have so many different influences. For me personally, when I was growing up as a kid, I was a big sort of Pearl Jam fan, big Metallica fan, but I loved like bands like Pride and Glory, Zach Wild's Pride and Glory, and Crav Love, who were only released. Well, the singer at the time was only on one album, but it was an incredible album. And they're sort of big southern rock band. So it was kind of stuff I was growing up on. And another band from Pennsylvania called Live, they were sort of big influence on me in terms of songwriting. But everything sort of from Wild Hearts, The Almighty, Iron Maiden, all the band, everyone sort of, holds close to their heart. Just use those as influences as well. And it's funny, we said at the start, people think we're sort of, from the States. I think there's definitely, we do have those sort of big, arena sort of style tunes that people could think from the States, but I think we also have songs that, could maybe sort of tread like The Almighty or Wild Hearts. So we still have that. So we sort of dip our toe in both pools, which is good. It's just good to be diverse, I suppose, and not be pigeonholed. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So from that question, who would you look to now as like a form of inspiration, or who you consider your peers, somebody you'd like to be compared to?
Compared to? Oh, that's a good question.
I do have them sometimes.
Just it's hard to think. You never really think you like to be compared to anyone, because you always think that what you're doing is sort of unique to you. But like for me, sort of my peers, I have a real fondness for The Darkness. I just think they're great songwriters, and they have now come to the point where their profiles at a certain level, but they're doing everything themselves as well. And I suppose you really have to at this stage. Every band really becomes a small brand and a small business. So I've got all their albums, and I just think they're great songwriters. And we obviously have some great bands coming through. We know the boys in Massive Wagons. We know those Damn Crows. The likes of Florence Back coming up. I think they're a great band.
Yeah.
There's just so many bands to choose from. It's hard to keep track sometimes. But if there's something good, you'll definitely hear about it. So yeah, it's good to see. Northern Ireland, there's probably a few bands from here, like good friends of ours, NASA Assassin, who you probably wouldn't have heard of. They're just an incredible band. We brought them with us over to Scotland, and they're just like you probably wouldn't hear anything like them on the scene in England, but they're just so unique, and they're really good. So hopefully you'll get a chance to hear those guys in the future.
Okay. So one final question then. If you were to meet somebody who's never heard a Trucker Diablo song in their life, and you say, right, what two songs would define your band? Go and listen to those two songs and say.
Probably be, I would say Fuel by Metallica mixed with, God. You're asking me the hard questions.
Absolutely.
Let's say Free and Easy by The Almighty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're happy with that? What song of yours would you pick?
What song of mine will we pick?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it'd have to be Drink Beer Destroy, wouldn't it? Because that's just the one that everyone loves singing back to you, and you love hearing it back. And it's just one of those songs that you'll never drop from your set. And it was just one of those songs that was just written sort of late night about just enjoying yourselves as friends in a band. That's all really it was about. So I'm sure there's plenty of people who are not in a band or in a band can relate. So yeah, it's probably universal for anyone that likes rock and roll and a sneaky beer.
Or not so sneaky as the case may be.
Depends what day of the week it is, I suppose.
Absolutely. Any day with a wine it. Tom, thank you very much for your time.
Dave,
it's been a pleasure. And I shall see you in Sheffield.
Yes, bud. Thanks so much.
Take care.
Cheers. Bye.